been a long few months, one thing after another, trying to get everything ready to go back on the road. Everything taken care of in Florida, trucks all fixed up, upgraded a few things on the camper. Went ahead and finally got back out on the road, headed to Texas to my cousin's, where I had mentioned in a previous video where they had 400 acres fenced in with elk in it, and spent the Thanksgiving with him, and then also had to replace my whole fridge. Now it finally works. But while I was there, did finally get some images of the elk, which I actually didn't go hiking out looking for them, because they have what was it, 5 bull elk and 25 cows. But the real big bull, apparently he's kind of ornery right now. I guess he's still in the breeding season as far as he goes, and he will charge. My cousin, his granddaughter, and his son-in-law, they've had that bull charge their UTVs and ATVs while they're out there. So luckily they come right up behind the house pretty much every day, so I can stay safely on one side of the fence and got some pretty nice shots. Today where we're in New Mexico. Found a recreational area, some sand dunes where people go riding their ATVs and UTVs. So I'm just out and about looking for some photographs. I was out yesterday, marked a couple places. So I'm on my way to that spot right now for my first image. I'll go ahead and throw some images of the elk that I photographed while in Texas, and I'll see you at our first location for the first image. All right, we're at our first image of the day. Like I said yesterday, I went ahead and walked around since it's such a small area, and just kind of scope out some images that I might want to get, because the sand dunes aren't as big around here as like I was a few years ago in Nevada and Tonopah, where another recreational area for four-wheelers, and the dunes are so much bigger out there. Right now it's 2:42, and around 4:30ish or so, the sun gets real low, and where it's setting, once it gets so low, gets real nice light, like really orange light. But the layout, like this image here, once that sun around 4 o'clock, the sun's too far down, all this is in shadow and nothing's in light. So how I got this framed up here, the bush here is kind of in the towards the upper left-hand corner. Since the sky is just straight blue, I cut out as much as I could. I still wanted some blue in there, but also get the sand ripples in the front and behind it. And behind the image, it's in the frame, we got a couple sticks that are coming up out of the sands. Really wish they weren't there. I could grab them, but then I risk disturbing the nice sands, adding footprints and all that. So worst case scenario, I can try to take them out in Photoshop. We'll see how that works out. Got my polarizer on right now. I already got it focused in. We're at ISO 100, shooting at a 40th of a second at f/14. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the images now and come back with you when I'm finished. So I went ahead and grabbed those images. Harvey, stop. He's trying to dig a hole, kicking sand all over my bag. But like I said, after grabbing those images, went ahead and looked at them real quick. But I decided to get a lot lower, kind of bring that horizon behind the bush down. the line of the dunes in the background. So the bush had more of a blue sky background up against that sky. So went ahead and grabbed a couple images of that, about the same settings, and I'm actually liking how that turned out. Right on the other side of here, 50 feet from me, there's another image, possible image of another bush, and so we'll jump up over there and see what we can grab up there. All right, we came just 50 feet up the hill and got all framed up for our next image that I'd marked and found yesterday. This one's kind of the same, shooting a little low, not as low as the one earlier. What I really like here, you should be able to see it in the camera. You got all these ripples. Yeah, there is some tracks in the background, but that's fine. They're nice and soft. That wind's starting to fill them in. And the way it is in my camera, I'm gonna pull it back up here. It's almost like a line of bushes, and the far right one, it almost pretty much starts closer to the upper right, and then comes into the frame at an angle. And this front bush is almost in the center. Usually I really wouldn't put it to center, but I really wanted to get more of the sand dune in the background with all those ripples, and you got the nice blue sky. Pretty much same settings as the last image, and I've already went ahead and grabbed some shots. So I'm gonna go ahead and do is walk on to my other waypoints, see what they have to offer once I get to them. So I'm gonna pack up and head out to our next location. As I was getting ready to walk out of here, I went ahead and stopped and just looked, and we got all those ripples that are in the background from this other bush, and just really cool looking. Like I said, with that sun, a lot of contrast within these ripples. And what I want to do is just take more of an intimate shot, landscape shot, just fill the frame with just those ripples and get more of a textured and abstract shot. As far as our settings, we got ISO 100, 50th of a second at f14. That's camera's proper exposure, but I'll go ahead and take one stop up, one stop below, because it's so bright. I just want to make sure I got the correct exposure. Well, like as usual, I'll go ahead and pick one in Lightroom. So grab this shot, and then we'll move on to the next location. It is so windy. That sand is just, my backpack is full of sand. So gotta be really careful when I open this thing, especially to switch lenses. And another cool thing about this spot, it's pretty secluded. Again, oil rigs everywhere, but it was way out here to get out here. And all kinds of coyotes at night when we were walking around yesterday, just checking out spots. You can see all kind of coyote tracks. Rabbit tracks. Almost looks like coyotes are chasing the rabbits, and came across pretty fresh. Couldn't have been too long before we got to it, but you can see where a coyote was digging holes in the sand looking for, I don't know, mice, I don't know. Right where we took that very first image, there was yesterday a bunch of little mouse tracks and coyote tracks all around it. So we're gonna carry on and see what other shots we can come up with. Walking down along the bottom here, kind of looked up, and I just noticed all the sand just blowing right over top of this dune here. Then also light casting on right on that peak, and just real nice soft shadows going down the other side. And also you got all those ripples. But what I wanted to try to do, I still may take the 24 to 70 out. I don't know. The sand, I'm already feeling kind of grittiness in my on this lens, so really gonna have to clean it tonight. So I got it pulled out all the way to 100. But what I tried to do, I took some shots at f14 with a little higher shutter speed, seeing all that sand just blow right over. Shooting at faster shutter speed is kind of just freezing that. So what I'm trying to do is I dropped it down to ISO 50 and just cranked the aperture all the way up. I think it went up to f32. That way I can slow it way down as much as possible. Whew, slippery. Yeah, so I was able to slow it down to 1/3 of a stop. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't really know. It's hard to tell when I'm looking at the back of the screen. That sun is so harsh on my face. It's really hard to tell what's going on the back of the camera. So once we get in the Lightroom, we'll see. But what I might do, I may just go down the hill, get out of the wind more, and then switch lenses, because I think a wider shot might be pretty cool. Just run a lot of risk of a lot of sun glare coming in. Yeah, let's try to swap it out real quick and see if we can come up with anything different. I'm gonna get me a different bag. I usually use my hiking bag, since it's the top loader, I can just reach down. I ain't gotta unzip it like this. But the pain in the butt thing is every time I want to go out, photograph just for the day, I gotta empty the whole thing. And then when I get back, I need to put everything back. And so just using this other backpack for now. It's more of a travel one when I go on vacation or something, but which I guess I'm always on vacation. So yeah, so we're gonna try to find another one, another top load, just a smaller one, just for stuff like this. So let's get this thing swapped out. Oh my God. All right, see if that works out. All right, this one's working out pretty well. Got it all framed up, and I feel like I'm yelling because of that wind. Let's hold on here. Let me reframe that. And sit over here, even though I was trying to put that wind on my back. But if you can still see, that sun is getting lower and lower now, and the light going up the ridge of the sand dunes looking a lot softer, getting more shadow coming over now that sun's going down, less sun wrapping around, but it's looking really nice. I'm going to try to do the same thing we did on the last one with the long lens. Crank that f-stop all the way up as high as it can go to slow down the shutter speed as much as possible. Try to get some motion blur with that sand blowing. So we're going to do that, and I'll take some normal shots of a little higher aperture. So I think I already took one, or a couple. F22, 1/4 of a second, ISO 50. Let's bring the ISO back up to 100. We'll keep it at F22 and 1/4 of a second here We're gonna go proper exposure right in the center there. Focus about a third of the stop. Third away into the frame I focused. Since it was f/22, getting a little sun glare. We'll go ahead and take my hat, if I can, without getting anything in the frame. Try to block some of that. I don't know if it will or not, but the sun glare is not too bad. Actually adds to it. So we're gonna keep it in, see what happens. Let's go f11, focus on the same spot, bring the aperture, bring that shutter speed back up for the 40th of a second. I think it's gonna work out pretty good. I like the sun glare. Adds to it quite a bit. 50th of a second. I'm actually liking it. We'll move on. That sun's gonna start going down pretty quick now. What time is it? I've already walked past some of those ones I marked, but that's okay. It's 4 o'clock, so about another 20-30 minutes or so, that sun will be pretty low, and that light's gonna get really orange, and it'll be less and less, but we'll stay out here, see what we can come up with. All right, we come across another image. Pretty sure I saw this one yesterday when I was walking on the dune across from me. I really like this one. You got all these ripples, but it's a really long stretch. Runs right into that peak, and you got a nice sharp ridge where that sun hits, and you got the dark shadows on the back. Main focus really is all these, as usual, the lines going through the sand. That's really cool. Actually, we got some clouds, soft clouds up in the sky behind it, almost like streaking across. So it's almost like this peak of the sand dune curves around, meets the edge of the point of those clouds. So let's go ahead and get focused in here real quick before that sun, those clouds move. That we're gonna go with f14, ISO 100, and that's gonna be, we'll take 20th of a second as proper exposure for the sand here. We'll go ahead and take one stop below. That's a little bit below, darker than one stop. Let's back it off to 2/3 or one third of a stop underexposed, and we'll do the same thing going the other way. And I'm doing this for proper exposure for the foreground here. Do the underexposed, just kind of darken that cloud up. Got polarizer on, kind of darken that sky up a little bit, pull those clouds out, or expose a little, maybe pulls some of that detail out closer to the peak in those dark shadow areas. So hope you enjoy that one. I'm gonna stay here, zoom in, and see if I can get any more tighter, detailed shots. All right, all I did was pick up my camera, literally moved 25 feet to my left. Got a completely different perspective. Now that ridge line of that dune is almost going, it's off to the left side of the frame, but it's more going straight into the frame up to that sky there. It's not, I zoomed all the way in to 70 mil. It zoomed all the way back out. The peak's really not a huge impact on the image. I wanted more of that. I want that peak to be a little bit more prominent in the frame. I may still move forward. Got it framed up, took a couple images. I did stand up. I'm gonna take a shot standing completely up because I can get more of those clouds in the background and a little bit more of that ridgeline on the other side. But still like these images here, still f14, ISO 100. This one's 1/20th of a second. Sand's exposing really nicely. So what I'm gonna do here, got those images. I'll go ahead and stand up and see if I can get more of those clouds and more of the ridge in the background up. So let's go ahead and frame up for that. I stood up down there, but wasn't really getting the framing I wanted, so I just moved up the hill here about 20 feet, and now I can really see the ridgeline of this dune. Kind of weaves in all the way up there, nice long line to follow into the frame. But the first image, I ain't pulled back the 24 mil here. Is it? Yeah. Even though I got a little bit more of the desert in the background, there's not a whole lot, but the peak is nicely framed, top center, slightly top left. Nice clouds. That polarizer really darkens that blue sky, really pulls those clouds out. So that's really coming out, really liking that. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just go ahead and reframe it up. We'll zoom in to 70, see what that looks like here. Get more of that sand dune on the left. I think splitting the difference of light and dark. So nice clouds. These rats are coming real nice. That sun's getting a lot lower. And like I said, that light's getting a lot more orangish. That's kind of weird, orangish, kind of like Worcestershire sauce. So, wow, really liking those images. I thought I was gonna be mainly shooting more intimate shots. These kind of are really the highlight, main focus of the images have been these ripples from the wind and the sand, but also I'm getting a little more wider shots than I was expecting, but not big wide vistas, just because, like I said, the desert in the background just not allowing for that a whole lot. We'll head on top of that sand dune, see what we can see. All right, I'm really going to have to, next time I go through a town, a Walmart, anything, I'm going to have to get some of that canned air, because I got sand all through these joints of these tripods. It's going to take some cleaning. It's the only downside about this sand, but it makes for such great images. And like I said, that sun's going down, bringing a lot nicer light, and we got to climb up that. So, see you at the top. All right, we did some walking around. Went to the top of that sand dune up there. It was tough going up and down these sand dunes. Didn't really see anything. So I decided, if you haven't noticed, I'm sure you did by the beginning of this, finally got me a drone. And since I can't really see much of any other shots that pique my interest, I'll go ahead and get the drone up. Now it's really nice light. And who knows, get some practice with that. I've only really flown a couple times. It's got quite a bit of features that I think will help along the way. But whenever I get good at it, I don't practice at it. So let's get this baby up. right, just like that, our photo day is done. Sun's finally down, pretty much went down over the horizon. Nice color in the sky. So really happy with what we came out with today. Just really nice to get out. It's just really nice to finally be back on the road again, and hopefully everything looks fine back home and should be able to stay out for a while. So we're gonna head back out to the truck, grab something to eat, and get these images on the computer, find out where we're gonna head next. So we'll see you on the next one.